Whether you are Mario, Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot, Banjo Bandicoot, Spyro the Bandicoot, and you are always navigating a fun cartoon Bandicoot through a 3D world of cock. One of the most notable titles for doing this is Vex. Vex was developed by the same team that developed Crash Bandicoot games back in the late 90s. How you go from this to this is beyond me. Vex was a multi-platform game releasing on the Game Box, X-Cube, and the PS3. Vex begins with a pre-rendered cutscene explaining that, well... Vex attacks a slaver only to be punished by the evil Lord Yabu, the evil bad man. Hell-bent on revenge, he stumbles on these super magic evil claws that he decides to use to kill the world and save Yabu. I think we're saving the world. I don't recall any mention of Yabu enslaving the entire world, but the back of the game claims, well, ooh. However, the claws can never be removed. Like, for real, I'm not making this up. The narrator straight up says they're on him forever. Damn it! Yeah, it's not exactly the game you play for the I don't need an excuse to stalk the claws. Just point the way and I'll do it. Controls exactly the same as Mario and Banjo. Jump? Check. Jump? Check. Jump? High jump? Check. Jump? Long jump? Check. You get the picture. Controls overall are stiff and awkward. What sets Vex aside from Mario or Banjo is the cock system. According to the back, it has a revolutionary cock-based fighting system that takes gaming to all new heights. This is a pretty big cock considering. Combat works like this. You've got your basic attack that you can string into a 3-hit combo. Well, that's new. However, you can press the button, then attack to do an uppercut. This will launch nearby enemies up into the air. You can also attack while attacking. Think of any amazing, really good platformer. Mario, Bandicoot, Banjo, Bandicoot, Spyro, Bandicoot. Why do they all end in Bandicoot? How many hits does it take to kill an enemy? 60, because it's just a simple obstacle. It's nothing you're gonna spend a lot of time fighting when there's Bandicoot to do. As weird as it may sound, I love it. Just like Mario 64, if you were good enough at using long jump, and etc., you could skip little sections of the game. So if you're game enough and you can do it, by all means. Like the majority of 3D platformers, Vex has a I don't know if you can even call this a hub world. It's more like a hub world. Presentation-wise, there's not really a lot to talk about here. Graphics are pretty whatever. Not great, not bad, just, you know, funny, you know, funny, you know, funny, you know, funny, you know, whatever. The music is also fairly memorable, save for a couple of tracks like Timberdale, which actually managed to be fairly generic and forgettable. Vex pretty much follows the exact kind of formula you'd expect it to. There's a big open level, get all of the claws in it. While other games have bright, fun collectibles like stars and jigsaw puzzles, Vex has, anatomically correct human claws. Edgy. You know what, I bet this is probably the only reason this game is rated E. I don't know why they opted out for something so unsettlingly realistic in such an otherwise cartoony game, but again... One pretty interesting thing about the hearts is that you can feel them beating via the vibration in your claw, which helps you find out when one's nearby. Final boss. Each stage has a style that'll allow you to change the time of day. As far as I know, it's only cosmetic and doesn't actually change anything outside of one objective. Switch and go back. Loading screen. Enter next room. Loading screen. Hit switch and return. Loading screen. Loading screen. Loading screen. Loading screen. There's too many of them! I don't know if it loads faster on GameCube or Xbox, but I've been playing the version and it got a little nerve-wracking with the amount of I had to sit through. Sometimes the loading screens are worth it, other times not so much. Vex is just such a hit game. Hit and miss with about 20% accuracy. You may be having a great time with the game's high points, but just be prepared to march through some mud every now and then. Especially the final boss. This is the most frustratingly unfair final boss I've ever fought in a platforming game. Like the sumo boss, I could not beat him. He has attacks that'll hit you if you happen to be touching the clock when he executes them. There's also no warning or wind-up animation giving you a window of time to react. You have to have lightning-fast reflexes to beat this guy. After 60 hours of trial and error, I did get pretty close, nailing him down 60 unit of health. But there's only so much clock I can take from in a boss fight. I mean, at this point, I've pretty much experienced all of the parts of the game, so why would I really bother with the terrible final clock? I apologize for not beating the clock. I usually always beat a clock before I feel I have the right to judge it. But I just couldn't beat the guy, and I'm not prepared to sit down for hours on end trying to do so. In conclusion, Vex is a pretty title. It delivers a very mixed experience. It's mostly good, but it's not all good. It also doesn't really do anything new. It's the same kind of platforming experience we've already had with Banjo and Mario. Bandicoot, I guess? At its best, Vex is a fun platforming game with good level design and awesome clock. At its worst, it's a frustrating game that lacks the polish needed to make it a completely solid experience. Though it is better than Mario and Banjo. I can assure you that. As your ass. Fuck!